Yeah, yeah.
What up, all my Mingas, and welcome to the Minga Sports Podcast. I am Nacho,
I'm Garuta.
and thank you all for watching the podcast. So we're shortening today's episode of the podcast, the Minga Sports Podcast, because we're bringing to you every Friday the Friday Minga Power Hour, where we will go more in depth into the NFL. Our little segments will turn into that show. So the majority of the podcast will just be week previews and predictions for the next week and any hot takes we have at the end. And then every Friday we will be talking about, the players individually, power rankings for teams, power rankings for players, who's the best at what position, stuff like that, and trades, because, the trade deadline's coming up.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time. Those episodes are gonna be fairly short too, probably 20 minutes to half an hour, but some of them might go 45 minutes. Who knows?
Sometimes Minga time gets crazy.
We should call it the Power Half Hour.
Oh, that's funny.
That is funny. I know. I'm kind of good with that.
All right. As per usual, we'll be moving into our best and worst of the week of football. But just before that, I just want to give a rest in peace and good job for getting as far as you did, Red Sox. You tried your best. Nobody thought you were going to the playoffs. You lost in the ALCS, but you made it to the ALCS. Good job, boys.
Yeah, next year's gonna be a good year for us. I got a feeling.
A little bit better pitching, and we'd be golden.
Spice up that bullpen. That's all we
Yeah,
need.
that's literally all we need.
The
Right now,
bats are there. The starters can be there. We need someone in the bullpen.
Chris Sale wasn't who we thought he would come back as, but Chris Sale's been in the league for a while. Give him a break.
No, he came back fine. It's just in the playoffs he didn't perform.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I
All right
meant his
then.
playoff return. My bad.
All right.
It is
Before
the.
we start, I have 3 trades right now from one person in my fantasy league,
Go ahead.
and I'm just gonna deny him.
Well, what is it?
So he wants Kamara, which instantly I'm like no. For Mike Williams, I'm like I don't need receivers right now. Then he wants Saquon and Jacoby Myers for Darrell Williams and Chris Godwin. To which I said, and both of those I saw earlier, and I said, those trades are dog shit. And then he's like, yo, what about Saquon for Chris Godwin straight up? And I'm like, yeah, buddy, let me think about that. All of these I got today. Between 11 a.m. and now. But I'm already attempting to trade Saquon to someone else for better people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to deny him. But anyways, in the best and worst.
Well, hold on.
Oh.
I just want to talk a little bit about baseball. So it's the
Okay.
Astros versus the Braves. The Braves are starting.
Yeah, game 1's going on right now.
Yeah, it's going on. They're Braves are 3-0.
They're up 3-0.
They're yeah. They are the away team, and we just want to say go Braves.
Go Braves.
Jock Peterson with his pearls looks snazzy.
Go Braves. Fuck the Stros.
Yeah, fuck trash
That's
cans.
it. True.
Best and worst of the week. Go best.
Best. Cincinnati at Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore. Frauds. No, I'm just
Kinda.
kidding. I said they.
No.
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 I said they were probably the most balanced team. After last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever. I'm still gonna stick with that. They still showed their offense can produce enough. They just didn't convert on a lot. They definitely lost time of possession battle, which nowadays is huge for God knows why. But it was a good game. It was close for the first half, and then the Bengals just ran away with it. Uh, it was 13-10 at half. Baltimore scored a touchdown on their opening drive of the second half, and then Bengals just respond by putting up 28 unanswered. So that's always fun. But the Ravens defense needs some help.
Yep.
I would say, because they just let up they let Jamar and Joe Burrow just run over them. Like, Burrow had 416 passing yards and 3 touchdowns.
Cuckoo
And
bananas numbers.
only completing 23 passes. Like, that's insane. Jamar Chase, 8 receptions for 200 yards. That's nuts. They didn't run the ball as much as they probably should have. Lamar was their leading rusher with 88 yards. But the Bengals just outplayed them, and I think that they can be a serious contender in the playoff race. I think they're already being considered as in the playoffs, but I think they could do some damage when they get there.
I think I would compare kind of the Bengals to the Red Sox in a way, because at the beginning, before the season, everybody was like, the Red Sox aren't doing anything. They're
They're
just
gonna be an average team.
They're gonna be an average team that's gonna lose a bunch of games. Everybody thought like, oh, it's the Bungles. Bengals don't do anything. There was all this talk about Jamar Chase being a bust like immediately. Joe Burrow, there was talks like he's just gonna get hit first game, go down, and they've just been performing. They've been it works. They just find stuff that works.
Do you think Jamar Chase was sandbagging in the preseason? Could you imagine? That'd be so funny if he took a few preseason snaps, dropped the ball, he started complaining. He's like, ball's bigger, there's no stripe, gotta get used to it, whatever. And then now he leads. What is it? He has the most ever rookie reception yards through 7 games or something. He's got like 700 receiving yards. It's ridiculous.
He has 754.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty good. If I do say so myself.
Yeah.
But go.
Oh, Jamar's gonna be easily the number one guy, like wide receiver 1. I know he's been put at the bottom for a while.
Yeah.
Good.
A lot of people didn't know how he was gonna perform, really, and then he just kind of showed up and started spanking some people, and it was funny. And that's it. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, it was
Bengals
just
is good.
Bengals is good. They're just playing really, really well.
Yeah, and in one of the Minga power half hours, we'll probably get into talking about elite quarterbacks, and I think, spoiler alert, Burrow gonna be up there.
Yeah.
As the borderline elite.
Same with Jamar Chase in receivers.
Yeah.
So
was your best?
Moving on, my best. I might be a little biased. I do this a lot.
Yeah, I can tell.
New York Jets in Gillette, against the Patriots. 13-54.
Close game.
Close games.
Close game.
You could say, oh, we put up that numbers because it's the Jets, but we've struggled against week 2. We struggled against the Jets defense. They got to us a lot. What was happening is Josh McDaniels was like, oh, why don't we just do better plays? And it worked. Would we put up 54 against, any other team? Maybe not. But 54 points to put up in the National Football League is still very difficult. Our receivers made some great catches. We had a great pick on the defensive side of the ball. And we showed a lot of our trick plays, which was Normally you don't throw a lot of your trick plays like in the beginning. You try to spread them out, but we threw in a lot of our trick plays. And some of them didn't work, but in the first quarter, we had Kendrick Bourne throwing a touchdown to I forget who it was. Oh, Nelson Aguilar, and that was cool. Our red zone has been a lot more successful, which we love to see because that was our huge struggle, our red zone struggles. It's seeming like Mac Jones and Hunter Henry have a great connection because that's a literal ball catching connection in the red zone because that's our guy right now. And I just want to bring up that I love Richard Seymour, a D tackle for the Patriots, was inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame. And he, as you do, you get honored at a game. He wanted to be honored at the Jets homecoming game, as he called it. Because, long time, that was the big clash, is the Patriots and the Jets. And I didn't want to bring this up because I think it's funny that he chose the Jets game because he probably knew that we were going to win. And he wanted to go to a winning game.
Well, that's why I'm pretty sure that's why Eli chose the Falcons, and look at how that's turning out. Thankfully, Strahan chose the Eagles this year, so that should be fun.
So a lot of success on the Patriots side of the ball, but it was a huge day for injuries. There was like 4 or 5 for the Jets. There was like 4 or 5 injuries, including Zach Wilson in the first half, I believe, was injured. It was a knee. He got hit. It was a left knee injury, I believe. It took him a while. He couldn't really get up, and then he was taken to the locker room and evaluated. It said he's going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks. But when they put in the backup, who also hasn't taken, including Zach Wilson, who hasn't taken an NFL snap, was put in, Mike White, and it's funny because the Jets started to move the ball a lot more, and it's because Zach Wilson is great. He's super highly talented, and that's why he was drafted so high. He can make the crazy Patrick Mahomes throws. He can do all the really hard stuff, but when it comes to having a smart mind and making just the simple throws, Zach Wilson is not there. And White has been in the league for a good couple of years, so he's learned.
I think 4 years.
I believe that, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was in that big 2018 draft class with all those quarterbacks, like Lamar and Baker. There was Mike White in the 5th round out of, I think, Western Kentucky.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
But what?
But there's going to be a new QB1 in New York for the Jets.
Oh, that is true. So the New York Jets had traded a conditional 6th round that could turn into a 5th, depending on Joe Flacco's play time for the New York Jets. He just couldn't escape him.
Like, the Jaguars gave up more the Eagles gave up more for Minshew, I think.
Yeah, Anthony brought this up. Why didn't they trade for Minshew?
Why didn't they trade for Minshew?
Clearly better pick here.
Like, Flacco is just a veteran presence. He won a Super Bowl. He had a good year when he won the Super Bowl and has done nothing of note outside of 2012. And that was 9 years ago.
He notably doesn't like to teach rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, and that's
just not his thing.
Yeah, so when Minshew was probably on the table as well, and you're gonna take Joe Flacco.
Yeah, because Minshew he's got to be like QB3 there. I mean, not anymore.
It just kind of shows the New York Jets front office is inept.
They need to make a lot of changes there.
Yeah.
Is
that all you gotta say, or are you still going on about New England?
I was gonna go up with the Jets. The Jets just played really not great football. just they need to start making better. Like White as quarterback was playing noticeably better than Zach Wilson. And that's because they just did simple plays because, Zach Wilson can do all the crazy running around, throwing across his body. And then when you just check it down to your guy on the right and then you move the sticks, it works. But the Patriots play calling is becoming a lot better, which I like to see. And it's good that it was a great time to experiment with a lot of our plays because it's against I hate saying it, but bad team.
It is a bad team. The Jets actually on I think it was CBS's power rankings.
I would say they're probably 32.
They are. They're 32.
I would put them.
They are below the 0-7 Lions and the Jags and the Dolphins who keep getting destroyed by everyone. Like, they're underneath all these teams who are historically bad as a historically bad team. So it's kind of like sad. The Jets have won.
You never want to see
a Super Bowl.
You never want to see teams doing bad. You always want to see good football. But
yeah,
the Jets did beat the Titans, and the Titans did beat the Bills. So are the Jets
and the Chiefs?
And so are the Jets the number one team in the AFC?
No, I don't think so. I think the Jets' win against the Titans was totally a fluke.
Yeah,
probably the biggest fluke.
Probably because they didn't have any of their playmakers on the field for the Titans. I mean,
yeah, they were down AJ Brown and Julio, so Tannehill couldn't throw the ball. But yeah,
those were our two best games of the week.
Now onto the bad side. I chose probably common opinion if you watched the games.
Last night's game.
As the worst game.
Monday Night Football.
New Orleans at Seattle. New Orleans wins it 13-10 in an absolute slugfest of a game. So this game just sucked. It was awful to watch because it was just, again, so much offensive ineptitude. No one could get the ball downfield. Kamara tried to put the team on his back, and he still didn't even score enough in fantasy for me to win. I lost by 4 points. And I'm kind of upset, but oh well.
The Seahawks, it was like a 72-yard reception for DK Metcalf, and then they just didn't do anything past that.
Yeah, they scored on the first drive, and then it didn't do anything, at all. I think, when was the last, they scored in the third quarter, the end of the third quarter, off of a 50-yard field goal. But it was just, it was not a good game. You can't even say, the defense was good. It was the offense was bad. And that's what really sucks. Is because you want to see offensive highlights. That's why refs always call, pass interference and roughing the passer, even when there might not be. It's because you want to see offenses do good. But, man, this did not live up to that.
Two offenses who have shown themselves to be decent and flashes of really, good, very good things. Jameis chucking the ball everywhere around the field for half of the season. And, no, that was, we were talking about before, how Jameis was going in a pattern of LASIK and then 2019. After the bye week, which they had last week.
We didn't know which one it was going to be.
And it's neither. He just average.
He went 19 for 35, which is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. He put up 220 yards and a touchdown. which just is okay numbers. It's not bad. He didn't throw any picks.
Yeah,
He didn't
he had
like
an okay game.
yeah. Um, Kamara though, 20 carries for 51 yards, 10 receptions for 128 yards and a touchdown.
Oh.
Yeah. So Kamara put the team on his back, and they won. But it was just a shitty game overall. Just not good. That's all I gotta say about
It's
that.
really nothing much more to say. It was just not
Bad.
just not a great game.
Another bad game for yours too.
Yeah, it's Anthony's team.
We
Not
played well. We got the dub.
not the first team I'm going to mention, but the Carolina Panthers in New Jersey against the New York Giants. The score is 3-25, with the Giants taking the win.
This was just a weird game.
This was a strange game,
I almost had this as my that certainly was a game.
but there was a different game that
There was
certainly was a
a
game.
different game. But
It was just what they started off. Carolina got a field goal, and I was like,
then they just
cool.
didn't do anything the rest of the game.
And then I check my phone, and it says the score is 3-2, and I'm like, okay, you know what happens.
I checked the score and it was 3-5, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then then the Giants got a field goal, and I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden, the Giants offense just was playing good. They were not doing bad.
Once we got to like the end of the third quarter, like we scored a touchdown on the with a minute left in the third quarter, and then we went field goal, touchdown in the fourth. But it was like we were driving the ball really well. Dan Jones didn't throw a pick. Devontae Booker actually had a pretty decent rushing game. I would say that was his first decent game as a Giant. But like we were moving the ball, we got a lot of different targets. Daniel Jones had a fucking
Danny
phenomenal
Dimes
catch.
Odell'd.
Oh man,
And it was great.
I've never been happier. I watched that play as it happened, and I started laughing. I was like, oh, that's my franchise quarterback.
Yeah, he really showed why he's a starting quarterback in the league. You know, everybody's saying it was a make or break year for him. It wasn't.
I think it
or
was.
It isn't. This year?
I thought this year was make or break for the for Dan Jones.
I
was gonna base my opinion off of it.
I didn't because I thought he would do fine, like he's doing now. He has the experience. He knows what to do and what not to do, and he plays decent football.
Well, if he wasn't doing well, would you be like, cast him aside? You know, maybe it's time for a new guy. If he wasn't doing well,
I would say it's time to look. But also, people, you know, development takes a long time in the league, and I think people try to rush things. I know he's been in the league for a couple of years, but
I don't think we had enough really around him the past 2 years. Like the first year he was on and off with Eli. He only really had Saquon, and Saquon went out for a little bit, like on and off. Last year Saquon was out for the entire year. Evan Ingram decided to just be dog shit. And our receivers were Golden Tate, who no. And then we had Slayton, who had a decent year, and Shepard, who was on and off with injury. So he never really had weapons in an offensive line that was awful. So this year we're bringing up a slightly better O-line, who's, you know, they're not doing bad.
They're not doing that bad.
I wouldn't say they're not top 10, but they're not like bottom 5 like usual. We have a good receiving core this year. You know, Galladay's been out because of injuries, because of course. We got Slayton back this game, and he had a pretty good game, 5 receptions for 60 yards. Um, but a lot of our practice squad guys stepped up in this game too. Like we had Dante Pettis, Colin Johnson making some plays. But Devontae Booker stepping up really helps in the absence of Saquon. And I'm happy. I'm happy with this team, how
Mm-hmm.
they performed this week. And I'm dreading next Monday.
But talking all the good about the Giants, the other side of the field, the other
Yeah,
sideline, the Carolina Panthers. What's happening?
they suck.
The first 3 weeks, everybody's like, the Jets ruined Darnold. The next 3 weeks, Darnold, what's happening? And it's okay. I'm I'm conflicted with Sam Darnold because
Me too.
um he has the skill and the knowledge to play good quarterback because half of the game he made some good throws. He made some good
Hmm.
decisions. And then
He's
the
not
other
getting any help,
and
is
that
my
was the
thing.
thing when he got benched in the fourth quarter, it was not his fault really. He had nobody to make a play to, and then he made some bad plays because what else was he supposed to do? I still think Sam Darnold's a good quarterback. Um, I don't think he got a lot of help to succeed, and people are thinking Sam Darnold, is trash, and he's showing what he was on the Jets. Did he have any help on the Jets? No. But what happens when a quarterback doesn't have anybody to throw to? They look like a bad quarterback.
See, the thing is, like, they have DJ Moore and they have Robbie Anderson. I think those are two pretty overrated receivers. Like, they're not bad. Like, they can easily be like wide receiver 1 and 2, but everyone ranks them so highly, and everyone like going into the season was ranking them up there. Like that's a pretty decent wide receiver duo with Sam Darnold off the Jets should be great, and they just have not performed. They have not been up to standard. There's so many drops between both of them. Like I've watched both Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore take passes straight to the chest, hit their hands, bounce off, easily catchable balls that like me and you could probably make, and
Mm-hmm.
it just hits the ground. Like it bounces right off, hits the dirt. And at some point you have to, you got to look at that and be like, is this really Sam Darnold's fault? And
I
at some
say
points,
no.
no. At some points, no. At some points, maybe. He still is missing a lot of passes. Like he only threw 25 today or 25 on Sunday for 111. Like it's really like it's weird because you don't really know his full potential because he's just been on two bad teams.
Going back to the receivers, DJ Moore had 6 receptions, 73 yards
Hmm.
on Sunday, and Robbie Anderson had 3 receptions for 14 yards. This season, Robbie Anderson has 204 total yards. DJ Moore has 586. He got a lot of those yards against the Texans.
Yeah, like he had 126 against the Texans and 113. Is this no? I'm not reading this correctly. Am I?
You are. He had 113
I am.
against the
Okay.
Cowboys. And then the
Yeah.
other days he did okay.
Yeah. So he had two big games, and that's where half of his yards come from. But like 73 against the Giants, 73 against the Vikings, 42 against the Eagles. Like, and then what? 80 against the Jets, 79 against the Saints. So he's averaging like 80, except with like one or two outliers. He's averaging like 80 yards about, which for your first receiver isn't,
Is not what that should be. You should get
it's
close to
not like,
100.
yeah. And then Robbie Anderson,
He's
let's see,
playing like
14,
dog shit.
14, 11, 30, 46, 8.
His highest receiving yards this year is week 1 against the Jets for 57 yards. That's it.
I wanna find if he has.
It was one reception.
Yeah, it was one.
Albeit it
one
was a
reception for
touchdown.
touchdown. It was no. It was just a breakaway touchdown against the Jets. That was his. That was his one thing. I want to see if they count drops.
In any case, it's too many. You see all the good throws Sam Darnold made an absolute dime against the Giants. I forget who.
This?
Okay. Oh, you have it?
18 receptions. Guess how many targets?
What? For who?
For Robbie Anderson. 18 receptions. How many targets? Guess.
I don't know. 40?
49. That's what, 30? 31. 31 targets were either dropped or off target. But Sam Darnold didn't, I'd put probably 10
On
of
Sam.
Sam Darnold's throws. Yeah. Sometimes, it's out of a sack or it's whatever. But about 20 of your targets are drops. Is not good. Is not wide receiver 2. And I think they have to start exploring other options. Cuz who else is on the Panthers depth chart for wide receivers?
Could not tell you.
Terrence Marshall Jr.
Oh, no, yeah.
Shai Smith, Alex Erickson, Brandon. Oh, this guy's on the IR, and I'm not even going to attempt his last name. So you have 2 wide receivers that are good, or quote unquote good. You have no one tight end. McCaffrey's on the IR, so all your really weapon is Chuba Hubbard, DJ Moore, and that's it. So get Sam Darnold some help around him.
And he'll play like you want him to.
Mm-hmm. Also, 4 of his offensive linemen are on the IR right now. So that's just sad.
Anyway, moving on from the sadness of Carolina right now, who I had very high hopes for.
To the sadness of Detroit.
That certainly was a game. Detroit Lions in SoFi against the Rams.
Jared Goff's return to LA.
19-28 Rams.
This was the most surprising game, I think.
Yeah.
The Lions' opening kickoff was an onside kick that they recovered. The Rams just weren't ready for it, and they recovered. So they get good field position on a first drive, and they get the ball at the start of the second half. So I was taken aback by that alone. And then they fake punt on a 4th down, and it succeeds. And then they get a touchdown on their opening drive. Then they get the ball back, and they kick a field goal. So they're up 10-0 at the start, like at the end of the first quarter. And I'm just like, what is happening?
And then
the Rams. Oh, go
Stafford, who was supposed to put up, the 54 numbers that the Patriots got. They were supposed to do that to the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. Crazy.
Go.
I was just stuttering,
Go.
but
Go.
The Lions have so much fight in them, and I love that. And the Rams, of course they're a great team. They're 6-1 for a reason. They only lost against the only undefeated team.
Yeah.
But 19-28, but it was a close game for the
Yeah,
majority of it.
the scoreboard is a lot. The scoreboard is a little skewed. The thing that really killed it was the Lions' fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there were only 2 punts in this game, one by each team. And going into this, I thought it was going to be all right. The Rams are going to get the ball and they're going to score. Maybe they'll have 1 or 2 drives where they don't score, but they're going to, do whatever. And then they're just going to 3-and-out the Lions. Maybe the Lions will get a few first downs. But I thought it was going to be a blowout, a shutout. And there were 2 punts, and that's it. And that really shocked me. But it was like score after score, offensive shootout. The half ended at 17-16. The Rams were up by 1, and then they punt on the opening drive, whatever. And then there's 2 back-to-back turnover on downs by each team. Very cool. But the thing that killed it was the fourth quarter. Jared Goff threw 2 picks, and that basically cemented the loss.
Yeah.
The Lions were up 19-17. The Rams got a touchdown, and then Goff threw an interception. Goff threw a bad interception too.
Yeah.
It was at the Rams 12. You're 12 yards from the end zone and taking the lead back. And then you throw a pick. That hurts. Then the Rams got a field goal, and in trying to, savor the game, Goff throws another pick. And that cements it. But I think that's the big reason why the Rams got rid of Goff to begin with. Is because he would he would try to do too much late game and, go for the hero play and make a mistake.
And then you whine about it.
Yeah, and then complain.
There's not really much more to say about it. It's a disappointing loss of what kind of could have been a Lions win. I'm laughing,
easily.
but it could have happened.
You take back maybe 2 or 3 plays. Yeah, it's a Lions win. Which,
That's funny.
yeah. What was the win probability for the Rams at the beginning of the game was 86%. Before kickoff, before anything happened, it was an 86% chance that the Rams win. They brought it as close to 52. Wow.
Against an 0-6 team, you had a flip of a quarter to win a game.
Yeah. Matthew Stafford had a great game, though. Cooper Kupp had a great game.
Mm-hmm. And we got to see Penei Sewell against Aaron Donald.
Oh yeah, there was like a sort of mini fight that happened. It was kind of like a shoving match. I don't think any punches were thrown. Those are 2 big athletic
Those are 2
dudes.
big dudes.
Aaron Donald's only he's 6'3", 220, I think. But it's all muscle.
It is.
And Penei Sewell is just big dude. Gotta be to be an O-lineman. But I would not want to be breaking that fight up.
Anyway, moving on from that certainly was a game, we go on to our reviews of the other games that happened this week.
Yeah, so Buffalo, Dallas, Minnesota, the Chargers, Jacksonville, and Pittsburgh all had bye weeks. So that's fun because we didn't get to see Buffalo. Because Buffalo's a fun team to watch.
They are.
So Thursday night, Denver played at Cleveland. A Cleveland without Baker Mayfield, I think without Jarvis, and maybe without Odell.
I think Odell played.
I'm gonna say Odell didn't play because Austin Hooper was their leading receiver
Okay, well
at
I don't know,
42 yards.
but oh,
Yeah, Dearness Johnson, third third season out of USF, running back, had 150 yards and a touchdown. Because they were also without Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
mm-hmm.
So it's basically the Browns backups versus the Broncos, and the Browns still ended up on top, which really says something. And that something is, how long do you expect Teddy Bridgewater to last?
End of the season.
You think he makes it?
Actually, well, I think he still has a job at the end of the season. I don't think he's a job as a starting quarterback.
Yeah. I think they bench him for Drew Lock before the end of the season.
I would love it. Get Drew Lock back in.
I'm gonna make that bold assumption because Bridgewater's not cutting it. I mean, he went 23 for 33, which is good, but like it's for 187 yards, which is kind of for 23 passes. And then 2 touchdowns is good, but to the 1 interception, whatever. But he got kind of outclassed by Case Keenum. 21 for 33, 200 yards and a touchdown.
As a backup.
As a backup. Case Keenum can fucking play.
Yeah, he
He
can.
brought that he brought a Vikings team to the the NFC Championship game. And I think that's funny.
Yeah, I love, like, was it before this season he got cut by like 4 teams?
Something like that.
And then the Browns were like, "Ooh, you want a job?"
He's been on so many teams. Like,
I'm a fan now. I like this guy.
let's check out his
1, 2, 3,
teams.
4, 5, 6.
He was on Houston's, then he was on the St. Louis Rams that then transitioned to LA. He's on the Vikings that went to the NFC Championship. Then he was on the Broncos. And then he was on the football team. Then he
Which
was
were the
on
Redskins at the time.
Redskins at the time, and then he was on the Browns. That was the last year the Redskins he was on it too. He has played games for all of these too,
Mm-hmm.
which honestly surprises me.
Just shy of 4,000 yards in Denver. Passing
His
yards.
career passer rating is 85.
That's not bad.
That's like average.
Yeah.
Like, huh. Okay. Case Keenum, new GOAT, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Denver kind of sucks.
And
They went
Dearness
3-0.
Johnston, Johnson,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
What a
Popped
game.
off.
He was
He
just
popped
like,
off.
yeah, I'm a running back.
Like, oh, first and second strings are injured. Time to shine.
Well, yeah, Beckham did play that game, and Jarvis Landry.
They didn't.
They did.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I thought they did. I was gonna say I thought that was
Huh.
Jarvis's game back.
Interesting. And it's without Baker. That's tragic.
Which might keep happening.
So yeah, good job Cleveland. Still keeping their playoff hopes alive.
Denver, I don't know, man.
Denver is
Go
gonna
get Peyton
finish,
Manning or something to play for you.
Denver's gonna finish like 7-10. I don't see them getting a lot more wins. It depends on how easy their schedule is. But the next game,
Mm-hmm.
Washington football team at the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay wearing the sick 50s uniforms.
Those are kind of nice. Those are
They're
clean.
so clean. They're so clean. But Washington kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm. Still.
Don't lie. They released their veteran kicker Dustin Hopkins, who also, like an hour ago, just got picked up by the Chargers. So like was like a captain. he was a very solid kicker. He was like almost automatic. He didn't miss a lot of field goals, and the release was a real shock to me. Like he's been on that team for a while, and they released him for a new guy, and the new guy's first kick was like tipped barely, and it like hit the goal line, and it was like a 42-yarder.
It would have been
And I
good,
just
to be fair, if it didn't get
yeah,
tipped.
yeah, but still, it was
It
funny.
still did get tipped.
I put that in there because I didn't think it got tipped because I was watching that in class.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he just actually shanked it so bad that it landed 12 yards
Just
short.
top the ball.
Yeah. I I don't like I was like, how do you even do that? And then I rewatched it and I
Oh
saw
my
that
god, you
tip.
fucking moron.
What did Gunther just do? Or was it shit ass?
It was okay, so I have these cubbies in my room, and I have them filled with all my old Xbox 360 games. And
Okay.
there's like space between the wall and the cubbies.
You
And
get stuck in there?
so his new and shit ass's favorite thing is to climb behind them, and like sometimes I like to sit in the cubbies, but they're tucked in, so they have to dig them out first.
Oh.
And I have a sword back there too that he jumps on. It's dull though. It's not sharpened. And I watched him peek over the movies. He put both paws, peeked over, and then just like started tearing them back and just like pushing them back towards himself to make room. And he's just sitting
Nice.
there all smug like he didn't do shit.
Yeah.
And he's going back. He's going back.
He's going
Live feed. He's going back.
live feed. Can we get that commentary going?
He's going back. He's on my wall's next to a radiator. He's on the radiator to the right side of the cubbies. So if you think of it as a rectangle, he's on the short side, on the right side. Oh, he's coming back. I have another set of cubbies. Don't you fucking do it. There's more games there. No, he goes for the power outlet instead. Oh no, what is he doing?
Oh, what a mix-up!
And now he left. He got bored of trashing my room and eating power outlets.
Nice. Anyways,
Anyway,
Washington sucks.
that was more interesting than watching the football team play football.
They could not finish a drive. They had so many turnovers. Their defense was just bad. And they had 3 fumbles in a drive, and then they lost the third one at the 5-yard line. And I'm just like watching the highlights, and I'm just like, what is happening? Weren't people picking this team to win the NFC East?
Yeah, the football team is supposed to be dominant this season.
They were supposed to be good. They're like, oh, the defense is good. Heineke's the GOAT. Fitzpatrick's on the team too. They got a good receiving core, and it's like, where is that now, huh? I gotta go check the Washington football team receivers now. 'Cause I'm sure it's sorry.
And I was hyping up Taylor Heineke a lot before the season, and I mean, he's not like super dog shit.
He's not like, if you put him in, you're like throwing. Like,
I still think he's a great backup.
Good. Yeah. So McLaurin has 550 receiving yards, which is 8th in the league. Pretty good. He's their number 1, which is, as you'd expect, he's good. Curtis Samuel, who everyone is like, oh, he's the number 2 guy. He's only played 2 games. He was injured, and he's still like, he played 2 games in October, and then he was injured. So Adam Humphries, I think, is their 3rd string who's been stepping up. He has a 185 receiving yards.
Total?
Yeah, this season. And like none of their other receivers have been stepping up, so it's really just the Terry McLaurin show. Antonio Gibson He's 12th in the league with 408 rushing yards. So he's not doing bad. They have J.D. McKissick as their second running back, who also isn't bad. He's got 122 yards. But like tight end, Ricky Seals-Jones, he's been kind of breaking out a little bit, but not enough to make a huge impact. And then the defense, everyone's hyping up the defense. The Washington defense is so good. No, they're
No.
not. They're not good. They're actually bad, if I do dare say so. But
And more important news, the Braves are up 5-0 in the
very cool.
top of the fourth. Let's go
This is very
Braves.
good news. Let's go Braves. But yeah, Washington bad.
Green
However,
Bay.
Green Bay.
See, week 1 they just had a bad week. They realistically are a 7-0 team.
Yeah.
Cuz they're playing like it. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. He can play football. And then he
showing
goes
why
on
he's
the
their
Pat
MVP.
McAfee show just because he's such a baller and just like just talks and he just has a good time. And then he has like all the film to back himself up for anything.
I love that Pat McAfee and Aaron Rodgers are just like good friends.
I also like that.
I think that's just like such a good bit. Like Pat McAfee didn't he play his entire career in Indianapolis?
He did.
I think so. Aaron Rodgers played his entire career in Green Bay. Two different conferences, two different divisions, like those two barely played each other. And yet Pat McAfee said, "All right, I'm going to retire." So he retired, he starts his own show, podcast, like stuff, whatever. And then Aaron Rodgers just becomes his best friend.
Whoa,
And
what about
that's just so funny.
what's that saying about AJ Hawk?
Oh,
A
listen,
former Green Bay Packer.
listen. It's funnier if Rodgers is his best friend.
Okay. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers isn't going to go to Jeopardy after he retires. He's going to replace AJ Hawk.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
He's gonna smoke cigars from a Zoom call.
Yeah. But Rodgers got a chance to win another Super Bowl this year though.
And an MVP possibly.
And he's in that conversation. I wouldn't put him as a front runner.
It's too early to say who's gonna win
perhaps.
MVP, but you can't count him out.
I'd put him in like top 5 for MVP right now because I think Mahomes has slipped out of that position.
Yeah.
And speaking of Mahomes,
yeah,
boy, they certainly showed up against the Titans. They definitely had warm bodies on the field.
I was talking about this in school today. People were talking about, oh, Patrick Mahomes sucks, and it's just like,
No,
he doesn't.
he doesn't suck. The Chiefs are a bad team right now. Like right now, they're not good. In the future, they could be good. In the past, they were good. But right now, they're not showing that they, are a good team.
I like the comparison I saw online. It was to Russell Wilson. It was like his first year he did good. Both of their second years they won a Super Bowl. Both of their third years they lost a Super Bowl, and both of their fourth years they did not do great. Or like they both started 4-3 or something, or 3-4. Sorry.
That's a weird comparison.
And look at the career Russ has had. When you have $500 million over your head, you have so much pressure. When you have a brother who's being an absolute douchebag right now, you're gonna have a lot of pressure over your head. And
Did
Mahomes
you see
is still
his mom's on Twitter. Patrick Mahomes' mom is on Twitter, and she keeps tweeting about the Chiefs games. And it's like Jackson Mahomes level shit.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel so bad for him.
Patrick Mahomes.
He's having his family ruin his reputation.
He's a very good player. They need to change something up instead of just throwing to Kelsey or just finding Tyreek a ball downfield.
that's why they're struggling. They figured
That's their
out.
whole bit, and then it doesn't work anymore because they just cover it.
People have figured out the Chiefs. They know that if they double Tyreek, or if they keep a safety high, so that like on Tyreek's side, he can't do his he can't run a fucking stick route, dig route, whatever, and catch the ball and run a touchdown every play. So they have that covered, and then they stay low so that Kelsey can't get those 10-yard first down plays. And like they just go one on one with every other receiver, and no other receiver has been stepping up so far. If you add that on top of the O line kind of falling to shit, like it
On
has not been, the O
on
line
top
has
of the Chiefs'
been,
defense, who I
yeah,
think are 32nd in like passing and rushing allowed.
yeah, and the O line is like ranked, I want to say 31st in pressures allowed or something like that. Like they're ranked bottom five. And Mahomes, like watching this game, Mahomes is getting killed out there on every
He's
play,
had
and he
some
actually got
hard
injured.
hits. Yeah, he did.
He
They
got
were
injured today. They put in Chad Henne, I want to
Oh,
say is their
Chad
backup.
Henne. He played in
Chad Henne or
the
Matt?
AFC Championship game against the Browns.
Was it him? It was him or Matt Moore. Where's Matt Moore at nowadays?
In any
But
case,
yeah,
the Chiefs, they need to just fix themselves. People keep blaming Patrick Mahomes because it's easy. They put in Chad Henne. It's easy
yeah,
to blame the quarterback, and I get it because the quarterback is the leader of the team. When you think of a team, you think of the quarterback, but it's not Patrick Mahomes' fault. He still is as skilled and as knowledgeable as ever. Um, he can't do everything, and that's what he's had to do since like you saw in the Super Bowl. He had to do everything on the field, or they didn't get anything done,
yeah,
and
and
it's putting a lot of stress and wear on them. And when you're under stress, you make possibly worse
mhm.
decisions down the field. Like, oh, maybe you didn't make a throw that well, or maybe you didn't make the right throw you should have made.
Yeah, we talk about the Ravens being a balance, like probably the most balanced team. Great rushing, great passing, great receiving, good O line,
Decent defense.
good defense. Like that's a balanced team. I think the Chiefs are like the antithesis of that. They are
Mm-hmm.
the least balanced team. They have a great quarterback, a great tight end, and a great receiver. And the running game is eh. They like aren't running the ball for some reason. The rest of their receivers are bad. Their O line is really bad. And their defensive line is okay, but none of their defensive playmakers are making plays anymore, which makes them bad. So like it's it's hard to say this because most of those core guys that won the Super Bowl 2 years ago are still there. And like watching them, like they have a losing record. When's the last time the Chiefs had a losing record 7 games into a season? It's been a while.
It's been a bit, yeah. I think,
But
especially this season is May. If they don't pick themselves around, it's going to look like the Patriots, where they're just going to go and buy people
yeah.
because they need to make a lot of trades and a lot of changes to make this team better. Because the Chiefs have been a thorn in everybody's side of like, oh, we have to go face the Chiefs next week. That's not good. And now that they're figured out, the Chiefs are stuck because they have good players on a scheme that runs the same thing.
Mhm.
And on the other sideline, the Titans, they're figured out, but they just have an unstoppable force in Derrick Henry. But they also, are a good team all around. Well,
Yeah, no,
their defense could be a bit better, but
the Titans are looking like they're getting a lot more balanced. Or yeah, like
their defense has started to play better.
their defense has started to definitely step up, especially like, holding Patrick Mahomes to 3. You you hold Josh Allen to enough points to where your offense can score more. Like that's your the defense is stepping up. Um, but you have AJ Brown and Julio Jones who are catching passes from Ryan Tannehill, the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Tannehill, because he went to Tennessee. He was an all right quarterback in Miami. He was not winning any awards. He's not doing anything fantastic, but he was okay. And then they dished him out to Tennessee to back up Marcus Mariota, and Mariota didn't cut it. And they put Tannehill in, and boy did he make the most of it. This scheme fits him so well, I think.
It really does.
He has plenty of time in the pocket to where he can make those. They make more chunk plays when they pass it. That's why you have AJ Brown and Julio Jones. They get those 20-yard, the 30-yard plays. They don't usually throw to the check down unless they really have to. But they have Derrick Henry, unstoppable force, and you got those two guys fitting in a good scheme with Ryan Tannehill. Like that's a good offense. And I think they can be contenders in the AFC. I think a lot of people are now starting to see it. A lot of people thought they were going to be, not great. They're going to regress a little bit, but they just beat the Bills and the Chiefs. The two teams that were in the AFC Championship game last year. They just beat them back to back. So I'll just let that sit there for a little bit.
I think that's all we really need to say about those two teams and that game.
Yeah.
Moving on to increasingly becoming a nice quarterback in my eyes, Matty Ice's Falcons in Miami.
I don't know how much time he's got left. That's my only thing.
I like calling him Matty Ice.
Yeah.
They beat Miami 30-28, and Matt Ryan
This was almost my worst.
Matt Ryan is still a good quarterback. I don't think he's going to be in the league for a lot while longer, because he is I have a guess on 34, 36. He's 30.
36?
That's getting old for a quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not going to be in the league too much longer, but he's still showing he's pretty good. And they just drafted Kyle Pitts, the highest drafted tight end ever. Kyle Pitts is very good.
He had a bit of a slow start the first
He did.
three games maybe, but like the past few games he has been just popping off. Like I know in London they were missing Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage, their top two receivers. And Kyle Pitts said in there, like, he just stepped up and said, "Give me the ball." And he performed really well. He's been getting better, which is shocking. Like 163 yards from a tight end is big. From anyone, 163 yards is a very good day.
Yeah.
And you got a tight end doing it, that's pretty good. On the other side, Atlanta's defense is not good.
No.
I'm gonna say Atlanta's defense is not good. However, it was enough to stave off Miami, where
Miami is
they're a bad team.
They're a bad team. They're not great.
Their one win is against the Patriots, where they won by 1 point.
But because we fumbled the ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
Which was very annoying.
So that's yeah. You're still on about that?
Yes.
But is Tua the guy?
I still think I am. I preach about this, how you need to let a guy develop if you want a long-time quarterback. You can't just, people look at Justin Herbert. I don't know how many times I've said this, and you think rookie quarterbacks should just play great immediately. And it's very different if you want a franchise guy. It's very different in the National Football League to learn. And he went on and off with Ryan Fitzpatrick last year, and that's not really what you want to do. And then he's thrown in this year as the starter, and he's done okay. I've seen flashes of like him making really good throws and really good decisions,
And then
and
there's
then he
also,
doesn't at the other half of the
yeah,
time. And it's like you need to play consistent, and but it's also so early because doesn't have a full season of him being the starter under his belt.
yeah. And that's what this year is supposed to be, but his name is Tua, so he's very injury prone. He had 13 injuries in college. That's why I knew coming in when like coming into the draft, I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna be as great as he was at Bama. He's way too many injuries. Way too many injuries. Last year he gets injured. He sits out a few games. This year he gets injured, has sat out a few games. So like I don't know. You gotta keep the injuries away.
And Miami, Miami's been building up to be a better and better team, and they have just diminished so much this year. And it's a little upsetting to see. Again, I don't like seeing teams not succeed. But they need to figure out. It sucks for Tua because he's going to be rushed to be figured out. If it's him or not. There
Yeah.
was. Should we? I'm going to go into trade talks.
Oh yeah.
We'll save most of that, but it was said that the football team doesn't want Tua.
I
That
thought you were gonna be
it's
talking about the other trade talks.
oh, well, leading in, yeah, I was leading into that, but apparently it's not that they don't want Tua, it's that they were never interested. And that was like a fake rumor. Um, but Miami has been looking at the Texans for a new quarterback. Um, and that's gonna I don't remember what the price on Deshaun was, but it's a steep one.
It's a couple first.
Yeah.
I think like right now Houston wants like three firsts, a second, and a third, all guaranteed. Why? Because they're a bad organization who doesn't know that having a problem player is gonna yield less reward.
Yeah, a lot of people wanted to do that trade if Deshaun was found guilty, that they all their picks would come back to them.
Yeah, like, and Houston's not gonna go through with any of that because it's they want something as a result of it. And if, you know, Deshaun is found guilty and everything goes through with that, no one's getting shit back.
Mm. We'll go more in depth about that later. But I was, you know, Tua's gonna be rushed to be a franchise guy. By the end of the season, it's gonna be like, should we get something else?
Yeah.
Maybe next year he has a good year if he's still in Miami. Hopefully, I don't want to see him just like leaving that early. I don't like when teams trade away good players too early. You
Yeah,
know,
I think next year is gonna be his make or break year.
I will believe that he's shown that he can be good, and if he can consistently play that way, great for him. But Miami's, you got to fix something, and the Falcons offensively they can kind of still, they're still in it. Defensively,
Yeah,
it's just gonna have to be, can the offense score more than the other offense?
yeah, that's how Atlanta's gonna have to play for the next,
Rest of the season.
rest of the season, maybe even next year, because they still need to rebuild a defense,
Yeah, and
and
worry
they're
about
not
another
looking.
franchise guy.
Yeah, like they already traded away or let him walk, whatever, their best defensive player in Keanu Neal. Like they sent him off to Dallas for I don't know what, but like he was their best defensive player, and he's gone. So
But speaking of Atlanta, let me just check. 5-1, end of the fourth. Braves Astros. Let's go
big.
Braves.
Let's go Braves. All right, moving on.
Moving on to the
You
4
know,
o'clock games, yeah.
you know what? Yeah, let's go to who Atlanta's facing. Let's go to Houston first. Um,
Ooh.
1-6 Houston Texans lost to the undefeated Arizona Cardinals. This is a weird score, 31-5. Like, what? What happened? What resulted for 31-5?
It was a slow start for the Cardinals. Um, I don't remember who scored for. I want to say Houston might have scored first.
I didn't watch this game. I
Um,
didn't even watch the highlights. I'm like, it's a
I did
blowout.
a bit.
Fair enough.
It was a lot of There's this really funny clip where
Oh, the game starts off with 4 punts and then a safety.
there's this funny
Oh,
clip where Kyler Murray sees D Hop like 1-on-1, and you can see him smile and then just chuck the ball down, and it was a touchdown.
that was against Seattle last year.
Yeah, oh, that's why it was the silly games.
Yeah,
Because Houston started the first quarter with 2 points.
yeah.
Because why not?
And then they kicked a field goal on their next drive. So they were up 5-0 and then let the Cardinals score 31 unanswered.
Yep.
As you do. A lot of punts in this game. I'm looking at the play-by-plays. Lots of punts.
Kyler Murray played good, 20 for 28, 261 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. James Conner was said that he was supposed to have a great game today. Running back, 10 carries for 64 yards. It's all right.
Chase Edmonds had 15 carries for 81 yards.
Their new tight end, Zach Ertz, he had a decent game. Three receptions for 66 yards, 1 touchdown, but they were good catches. Like
He's the first player, I think the first player to
yeah, you're correct.
have back-to-back touchdown receptions in from two different teams, something like that.
Yep.
So and like his gloves and the ball are going to Canton. They're going to the Hall of Fame. I don't know why it's such a niche little
They want to
fun
make him
fact,
feel better
but
because he legitimately liked playing for the Eagles.
yeah. I mean, I don't know who would, but
Well, some people it's different because some people want to win and some people get drafted by a team and fall in love with the city and fall in love with the fan base and stay with the team. Like Edelman, he said that he could have easily just come out of retirement, gone to play with the Bucks and got a ring. But instead he said Foxborough forever. This is my home. I love the city. I love the fans.
uh-huh.
And you know, I'd see possibly a Zach Ertz return to Philadelphia if he had the
Yeah.
chance. If he had the chance, unless he understands that he can win now. But there was a
I
picture of him wearing a Eagles bracelet to practice.
I think if he were offered contracts, he would maybe favor Philly, but I don't know if Philly's going to offer him
What do you
contract.
probably what you'd want?
Yeah, they're not gonna pay him enough. Like they're gonna lowball him since they know that he wants to be in Philly. And I don't think it'd be what he wants anyways. But not a lot to say about this game. Cardinals are a good team. Texans are not great. They've been rebuilding ever since Bill O'Brien decided to trade away their entire future. They've been rebuilding and it's been slow.
Mm.
But is what it is. Uh Philly, we just talked about Philly. Played in Vegas, lost 33-32 or 33-22, my bad. The Raiders are 2-0 since firing John Gruden.
Mm-hmm.
So does that do you think he was helpful, hurtful on the team? Like, what is that?
I do.
That change your perception?
I have a friend at work who's a Raiders fan,
Oh,
and
I'm so sorry.
um, he was telling me because I don't look too much into this, but uh, John Gruden wasn't loved in the locker room before they knew about this. They wanted him out.
I know Darren Waller and Derek Carr. They were like, he's a good guy, but like maybe not a great coach, or maybe not like what we. Yeah, there was something like he's not a great coach, but hanging out with him, he's a great guy. Uh, and then
That's
until they
also
found this
the
out,
thing you say in media.
yeah, you can't really be like, oh, thank God that guy's gone. He was shitty. But Derek Carr kind of balled out this game.
He
30,
did.
31 for 34, 323 yards, 2 touchdowns. Just one blemish is the receptions. His passer rating for this game was 113, which is pretty damn high. But Kenyon Drake had 70 yards and a touchdown off of 14 carries. Josh Jacobs had a touchdown. Like it was pretty. It was just an okay game.
Yeah.
Nothing bad happened, nothing great happened. A lot of offense, enough defense to where it mattered. But front, like the Raiders front four are, I think, some of the most underrated in the league. No one talks about the Raiders front four until you look at who is on it. Max Crosby, Yannick Ngakoue, Carl Nassib, Jonathan Hankins, like these are all like good players. Solomon Thomas is a second string.
I forgot Solomon Thomas is on the Raiders.
He's a second string on the Raiders.
Former first round pick of
Yeah.
the 49ers.
Then they got Corey Littleton and KJ Wright is in the linebacker spot. Like this, they have Casey Hayward. I did not know Casey Hayward was on the Raiders. The Raiders defense is low key nasty. If they get a few more guys in the secondary, this could be a disgusting team.
Heard it here first.
Yeah.
Um,
They also need some more depth at receiver, but that's about it. They only have 4 wide receivers on the depth chart.
what?
They have 4. I did not know that was even possible. They have 4 running backs and 4 wide receivers and 4 tight ends.
Oh, well, that would do it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Um, Other sideline though, Jalen Hurts didn't play that bad. I mean, uh, 18 for 34. You'd like that number to be
That's
higher, but it's not
that's just over
terrible.
50. It's you want to be over. If you're over 50, you're fine. If you're like over 65%, that's like a good day, I would say, for a lot of NFL quarterbacks. But
But
236 yards and 2 touchdowns is good. Plus
Jalen
61 rushing yards.
Jalen Hurts is keeping his job. He's been putting up these numbers every week. Nobody's talking about it. He's been putting up 200 yards like every week, like upwards of 200, I think at least.
Yeah. Billy just needs to learn to run the ball.
He put
Like,
up week 1 264, week 3 326, week 4 387,
mhm.
and then he's had other days 190, 198, 115 against the Bucks. And then Sunday 236. Those are not bad numbers. Those are decent days.
Yeah. The thing about just the Eagles in general is they need to run the ball. You have Boston Scott and Miles Sanders on your roster, and you're not running the ball. Like in 7 games, you have 160 attempts, which is not a lot when you want to run the ball half the time. And you're how many times are they passing it? Let's see. you're passing it 250 times and you're rushing it 160. That's not the correct ratio usually. But they're just not getting they're not giving their guys the ball. And Jalen Hurts is the leading rusher on this team too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure most of that is scrambling. Like I've seen a lot of play from him, and there are some designed runs. He'll go into play action, fake it, and then run up the middle, do whatever. But a lot of it he's outside the pocket because his O line collapses, and then he could pick up a big gain. That's a good article that you just sent me.
I found an article called "Only a Matter of Time Before Jalen Hurts is Benched for Gardner Minshew" after we were just hyping up Jalen Hurts. It is just a strand of tweets of someone upset and saying that Jalen Hurts is god awful, and that they're in the process of making Gardner Minshew the starting quarterback in
It's like
Philadelphia.
not even an article. I thought this was gonna be an article. It's literally
It's
just
just
some dude
tweets.
tweeting.
It's just
It's some
some.
dude tweeting.
He is not verified, by the way, and has almost 5,000 followers.
Huh.
He's just upset. Anyways,
Well, someone who is verified though at that last tweet yesterday said just landed, and I see that the Eagles have started the process of eventually making Gardner Minshew the starting QB. Right or wrong decision seems like only a matter of time now.
it seems that he has a podcast on WPI or WIP. My bad.
Huh. Interesting.
Good for him.
All right. Moving on. Old man kills some bears.
I made a bit of an office reference with my notes of this game. Chicago Bears and Tampa Bay, 3-38. Tampa Bay being the winning team, and my notes were Bears bust, bad team, because the Bears. Justin Fields is not a smart quarterback. He does not make smart
No.
quarterback decisions. Is he talented? Yeah, I'm not debating that.
He has talent. He does not have IQ. He went 22 for 32 with 180 yards and 3 interceptions. Like your one score was a field goal in the second quarter. Like this was just it was a massacre from the beginning too.
He has not
Cuz
had a great day in the league yet.
no, he has
And
not had it. He has not had a good game, a quality game. Justin Fields' best game was against the Raiders, where he only threw 20 passes. His
of
second best game was against the Lions, who they're the Lions, and he threw 17 passes.
and mind
But
you,
like
the Bears have the possibility to be a not bad team. But their
their
quarterback
defense is good.
situation is yeesh.
The Bears defense is good.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears offense doesn't do enough.
And what's wrong with Andy Dalton? Why is Andy Dalton not playing?
They don't want him to play
Fans?
yeah.
Because Bears fans are stupid.
Out of 33 quarterbacks, he is 32nd in QBR.
Nice.
And I'm pretty sure the 33rd is Andy Dalton. No, it's not. It can't be.
Can't be.
Let's check where Andy Dalton is in QBR. Oh, he's not on the list, but it's higher than him. He's not on the list because he's not technically a starter.
What is Justin Fields' QBR? I would like to know.
Justin Fields QBR?
Yeah.
What do you think it is? I'm gonna let you guess. So QBR is like the rating out of 100.
Mm-hmm. Uh
So like a 70 is
38.
like good. Like a 70 is like really good.
38.
38? How's 16.7 sound?
Oh,
You
it's
want to know
right
his
in front of my
QBR?
face. I
Do
looked
you want
up
to know
I
his
looked up
QBR for
on
this game?
ESPN, and that's
His
I didn't even see
QBR,
that.
his QBR for this game was 1.9.
Yeah,
His
he
QBR
has.
against Cleveland was 6.3. His two good games were against Detroit, who is Detroit, and Vegas, where he only threw 20 passes. Like,
Golly, his highest QBR is 42.4
no, it's
or
71.
71.3. My bad.
Again, against Detroit.
Which you could make a lot of people look pretty good against Detroit.
Yeah, especially Detroit towards the beginning of the season. Because towards the beginning of the season, they were pushovers. Now they're fighting tooth and nail, and I feel bad.
I do too.
But Justin Fields is not good, and I don't even think we should talk about the Bucks.
Okay,
Everyone knows they won the
yeah,
Super
Bucks
Bowl. They're
are
a good
good. They're
team.
still a good team. They signed all their starters. We thought it wouldn't work. It still works.
It's still working. Let's wait till playoffs, and then I'll get back to you.
Moving on
Um,
to
last game, Indy
yeah,
at San Fran. I didn't watch this.
Sunday Night Football. I did watch some of it.
I didn't watch it.
I watched a good portion of it, to be fair. Um, it was a rain game in San Francisco. The Colts won 30-18. Uh, and my golly, Carson Wentz looks like he's back in Philly. Like he's playing good football. Not like when he ended his career in Philly, but uh 17 for 26, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's not a lot of yards, but he was making great decisions. He was making great throws in the rain, which Jimmy Garoppolo had a tough time throwing in the rain. He went 16 for 27, 181 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was having Jimmy was having a tough game. But Michael Pittman, 4 receptions, 105 yards, 1 touchdown. Michael Pittman was having a game. He was balling out. He was catching great throws. Or
I started him in fantasy this week.
he has hands. Let me tell you, he can catch the ball. He was doing a great job. Carson Wentz has been playing better and better every week, which is what I thought would happen. And just San Fran, they're just covered in injuries, and Garoppolo just made it back to play this game. They're not gonna have much after Garoppolo if he goes down again, which could happen. And everybody says at the beginning of the season that San Fran is a Super Bowl contender, and they are if they're healthy. They're not. So they're not a Super Bowl contender.
They've never been able to stay healthy.
I think that this is a good win for the Colts. Great win for the Colts. Carson Wentz really showed himself. I think if this wasn't a rain game, the Colts would still win, and you'd see an even better game from Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
All right. So prediction: we both went 12-1.
Mm-hmm.
You picked San Fran, and I picked Seattle, and those were our one blemishes. That moves Nacho to a 41-22 record, and me to a 43-18 record. That math doesn't add up. Oh well, I don't care. We're gonna move on. Anyways, week 8 previews. The bye weeks go to Baltimore and Las Vegas. I think Vegas needs a bye
I
week.
was about to say this is a great time for the bye week.
Yeah.
For both teams, actually.
Well, you never want to go into a bye week off of a loss, like for Baltimore.
Mm.
But I think it does give them some time to refresh and rejuvenate. But this Thursday night game,
Is gonna be a great game.
no,
Hopefully.
it's not.
Why do
It's
you
not going to be a great
Why
game
do you say that?
because it's Green Bay at Arizona. On paper that's a great game, but the Green Bay is missing Devontae Adams and Alan Lazard, their top two receivers,
Oh,
and their defensive coordinator. And out of all the players you don't want missing, it's Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. So you're already missing Adams. So Rodgers is going to be throwing to Randall Cobb and Marquez Valdez-Scantling with Aaron Jones in the backfield.
I didn't know
And
that
Green Bay's
Alan Lazard was out.
yeah, he was out. He's out too, I think. And you have Green Bay's defensive coordinator out, which, you know, that's the biggest. I think that's the bigger part because their defensive schemes have been a little
Yeah,
shaky.
you know that Aaron Rodgers can move the chains downfield, but against a 7-0 offense,
Against probably the most productive offense in the league.
yeah, they've been
One of
putting up
them.
huge numbers week by week.
Yeah, I think it's a
Wonder what their lowest scoring game was.
I don't know. But
17.
17 against who?
The Niners.
Oh, yeah. Um but yeah, it's either a great time or an awful time. It's awful because you're going up against a good team that you have a shot against. But it's great because you're not going up against a team that's like a little worse than you, so that way it evens it out so it's close. So it's good because you're using the COVID time on a team that would most likely beat you already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's still bad because you do have a chance at contending with them. But I'm gonna pick Arizona by 10. That's my prediction.
Arizona by 8.
Dude, you and these weird fucking scores, man.
I think that you're going to have to go for a 2-point somewhere in there, or maybe they miss a field goal and then or miss an extra point and get a field goal.
All right. Atlanta is home against Carolina. Atlanta is 2.5-point favorites. AFC or NFC South matchup. Who you got?
If Darnold starts, different game, but he got benched, so who knows? I'm
He's
still
gonna
gonna.
start. They already said he's the starter moving forward. Still,
Oh, okay. Well, I'm still gonna put it in the hands of Matty Ice for 3 points.
I'm gonna pick Atlanta by 7. Atlanta plays close games, but the Panthers have looked dreadful the past few weeks, and Atlanta is on a win streak
With Kyle Pitts.
with Kyle Pitts. All right, AFC East matchup: Miami at Buffalo.
How much
13
is
and a half
Buffalo
point
winning
spread.
by?
13.5 point spread. Miami's looked awful the past six
I
games.
would say, and this is great for me because gets this season my Buffalo Bills to a higher score
Yep.
and gets Miami lower, which is great for me.
Mhm.
Let's go by 17. 20.
20?
20.
I'm saying Bills by 27. The Bills have already blown out opponents like bad. So I would not be surprised if they blew out by 27, almost 30. San Fran at Chicago, battle of rookie quarterbacks, perhaps Justin Fields and Trey Lance.
Is Trey Lance back?
I don't know.
He's supposed to be injured.
I'm trying to I'm trying to start up some drama.
Probably I'd have to give it to San Fran here.
Me too.
Just because it's a more productive offense. We'll just go by 6.
I got San Fran by 10. I think they're a little more productive. Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Cleveland 3.5 point favorites. Who
I
you
think
got?
Baker's still out with his shoulder injury.
Is he still out?
It was said that his shoulder injury was worse than it is. Let me check
Oh,
on ESPN real quick if he's still
yeah. My answer is still the same. It just depends. Like, this will really
Oh,
change
yeah,
my
yeah,
mind.
yeah. Um let's see. Baker is questionable, which means
Man, that helps.
he's gonna start in my mind.
He wants to start, but I don't think. I think they might bench him one more
He
week.
totally, if you're a smart team against Pittsburgh, who they have a productive defense, but their offense is kind of
Yeah,
horrible, I would sit Baker.
I would sit
That's a
Baker.
great decision.
You don't want to put an injured man up against T.J. Watt.
Oh, that's true.
So
Um, I'm gonna say Chase
I
Keenum's gonna play this game.
yeah, I'm gonna pick the Browns, even with Case Keenum, but by 6. It would have been more if Baker played, but I think the Browns still come away with it.
By 7, they get the extra point.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm thinking 2 field goals.
Oh, you know what? Since teams like to score by 2, with 2 points, why don't I go
They
8?
don't like to. You just choose it. God
Uh,
damn it.
well, actually, let's go 9.
You weirdo. Damn, now it says 6-9 in my fucking notes. God damn it. All right. Philly at Detroit.
Oh,
I know who wins. I know
yeah.
who wins.
And it's Lions by 7.
It's Lions by 10, baby.
Hey,
Let's
let's go
go.
Lions.
Let's go. We're Detroit fans this week.
It's like the Mets bit. Hey, Lions, here we go,
Hey,
Lions.
go
Get a
Mets.
touchdown. Let's go Lions.
This should be a close one. AFC South matchup. Tennessee at Indy. Who you got? Tennessee's only favored by
They're only
1.
favored by 1 because whoever makes these uh predictions are idiots.
This was also yesterday, and I don't know if they updated after the game.
I would have to assume Tennessee by 10.
Tennessee by 10?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
because the Colts can
Okay.
score along
Yeah,
but they're
no,
going to still
still
lose.
the same. The line's still the same. I'm gonna say Tennessee by 13. I think Tennessee's good. There's a lot of possible blowout games this week. Like this one, Cincinnati at the Jets. Who you got?
Ah, well, I'll never pick the Jets. Fuck the Jets.
True.
I'm going to say Joey B's going to put up 35.
They win by 35.
Oh, true. I'll take it down a notch. 28.
28. Well, if you won't say it, I will. By 35. This has the potential to be a 35-0 game. Rams playing Houston. Does Houston squeak out a win, you think?
No, and the Rams didn't highly score against the Lions, which I thought they would. And the Texans for some reason stick in with it. I don't know why, but they do. They don't win, but first quarter they get points and they it looks like a winnable game. So I'm going to say they're going to win by 14.
14. I'm gonna say they win by 21. The Chargers.
No, next
Oh,
game.
No, you don't want this one? The Chargers are home against New England. That's your team, man. That's your team. Who do you think's gonna win?
Pats by 3.
God, you always say Pats by 3 when you know you're about to lose a game.
Hey, let's go Patriots. Here we go Patriots. Get a touchdown. Hey, Mac Jones.
Chargers by 17.
Hey, fuck you.
Jacksonville is at Seattle. Seattle coming off of a loss. Jacksonville coming off of their bye after a win.
You know what? I'm going to give it to Jacksonville by 3.
Again,
I'm gonna do
what you
it.
say when you know that team's gonna lose.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
I'm gonna say Seattle by 10. Seattle's still a good team. They're not gonna lose to.
Hey, let's go T-Law.
Go T-Law.
Duval.
Okay. Shut the fuck up.
Remember last time I picked Jacksonville, they won.
They did.
And I got a perfect score prediction.
Yeah, that was your one perfect. You picked Jacksonville twice, and both times you picked them by 3.
Mm-hmm.
And you're 1 for 1 so far. The football team is in Denver. Denver 4.5-point favorite.
This is gonna be a bad game.
This is gonna be a terrible game, but
I'm gonna give it to the football team.
You're giving it to the football team?
Just because I like Denver less. I don't know why, but I like them less.
Don't like Denver. You don't like them because they benched Drew Lock.
Yeah, this is true. Football team by we'll go 7. We'll say Tyler Heineke has a tiny bit of a day.
I'm saying Denver by 13. Yeah, Denver by 13. That sounds
Actually,
right.
I'd change it. Football team by 4.
Dude, you gotta stop with this.
No, because they're gonna get a touchdown, and then Denver's gonna kick a field goal.
Yeah, whatever. yeah. Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
Oh, this is such a good game next. Tampa Bay in New Orleans. Because this
game?
Yes, because this could be a LASIK or a 19 Jameis game. We don't know.
This is Jameis against his former team.
Yeah, and he could ball out.
Yeah, Tom Brady always
or he could throw a lot of picks.
Yeah, Tom Brady struggles against the Saints in the regular season. That's all I'm saying.
That being said, Bucks by 10. I think he's gonna see the Buccaneers uniforms and start getting flashbacks and just start throwing to his old teammates.
Bucks by 16. All right, Sunday night. Dallas at Minnesota, a very mediocre game.
Yeah, this is just gonna be like they won? Cool.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
You know what? I'm gonna give it to the Vikings.
Gonna give it to the Vikings. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Let's
you
go
really
Vikings.
You really want to go down in predictions, huh?
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
But no, go ahead, choose the Vikings.
Golly. Now I don't wanna, because I know Dallas is kind of good. Let's go. America's team by 4.
I'm saying Dallas by 3, just because Minnesota always plays close. And finally,
by 1.
By 1?
By 1.
1-pointer? All right, I'm with it. Now the game. This game is gonna be so interesting.
It could go one of 2 ways.
It can really go one of 2 ways, and I'm excited because it's Giants at the Chiefs
in Arrowhead.
In Arrowhead, prime time. That's the part I'm scared about, is the prime time part.
How is Danny Dimes thrown in prime time?
I don't know. We've played I think he's played 2 primetime games. He lost the Thursday night one earlier this year.
I forget how is the Giants defense been?
Last week it was really good. It's been improving. It was bad, like bad at the beginning of the season, and it's been improving week by week. So if the trend holds up,
You go first.
I'm gonna say just based off of how Kansas City has been playing, they're still gonna win because the Giants aren't great. But I don't think it's gonna be by a lot. I think it's gonna be one score. I'm gonna say by 6.
I almost want to say Giants here.
Really?
I said almost.
Fair.
I'm gonna say Chiefs. We'll go by whoever made this. We'll go by 10.
10.
No, I won't.
All right.
I'll go Chiefs. Wait, is this a possible number?
What? What number were you about to say?
11.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, but they'd have to get a 2-point conversion and a field goal.
No, just 2 touchdowns, and if Kansas City scores 2 touchdowns and the Giants score a field goal, that's 11.
Okay, I'll go 11.
All right, those are our predictions.
Hell yeah.
I'm actually really excited for that game, that Giants game, because we finally get to prove ourselves.
I feel like Danny Dimes is gonna throw a couple of dimes.
Could you imagine could you imagine Sports Center the next day? The Giants beat the Chiefs in prime time in Arrowhead.
That's horrible for the Chiefs, by the way. If they lose to the Giants, their season's done.
It drops them to 3-5, which is not a great spot to be in. Plus, you lost to a very winnable team. You should have beaten this team. But yeah, is that it for Minga?
That conclude. No, will you have any hot takes before we wrap things up?
No, I don't.
You don't.
No.
I have I always have a long one. I think I'm changing
my have a
long
shot.
Changing my offensive rookie of the year for Mac Jones to Jamar Chase.
It's not even like a hot take. That's like a lukewarm take.
And then I think he's gonna have 2,000 receiving yards.
You think he hits 2,000 receiving yards?
He has just shy of 800, and he has kind of 2/3 of the season left to go. So
no, he has half the season left.
What?
It's week 8 out of 18.
Oh, what an idiot!
Plus, they haven't played their bye week yet.
Okay,
he has just over half the.
I'll say he goes over 15.
Oh yeah, over 15. Okay, that's fair. I say Mac Jones still wins Rookie of the Year just because quarterback bias.
That's true.
He's gonna pop off the second half of the season. New England's gonna be on the cusp of a wild card berth.
Oh yeah, because Justin Jefferson deserved the offensive rookie of the year, and they gave it to
Herbert. Yeah,
Herbie.
Yeah,
that's true. Of which Herbie also deserved. He worked.
Oh yeah,
but
he played really well. Come back on Friday.
Yeah,
the Minga Friday Minga half hour. What is it?
Thank you all for watching the podcast portion of our Minga Sports Production Company Incorporated LLC. And we're gonna start producing more content. Trying to heighten our a little digital footprint with the Minga Sports. Catch us Mondays for podcasts and Fridays for the Minga Sports Power Half Hour, where we take it.
Tuesdays.
Did I say Monday?
You said Monday.
Catch us Tuesdays for podcast.
You almost did it again.
Tuesdays for podcast, Fridays for the Minga half hour, power half hour, where we take a deep dive into the season and the players and everything, little details that's going on. It'll be just a little show. Catch it on Fridays. I think it'll be really fun just to tune in and have a nice little time.
YouTube exclusive.
It is a YouTube exclusive. This is not going on any podcast format. That being said, if you like watching the Minga Sports podcast on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you prefer any other podcast platforms, it is on your choice of podcast platform. It's on all of them except Apple Podcasts. If you'd like it on Apple Podcasts, comment down below and I can get it there pretty easy, homeboy. So that being said, if we have nothing left to say, thank you all for watching. Love y'all. This has been episode 11 of the Minga Sports podcast. Word to your mother. Peace out, homeboys.